will be a great wrestling podcast, and you can believe in that.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew.
This is OT3.
Prepare for launch. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. What is going on? Welcome back to OT3. I'm Anthony. Of course, I got my great producer and co-host, Paul. How you doing tonight?
Good, doing well, man. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing good. And then to my other co-host, Matt. How you doing tonight?
Woo! I'm the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, woo! Kit stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, woo! And I'm having a hard time keeping these alligators down, woo! But let's get away from Ric Flair and talk about the real champion on this show. And the real Universal Champion, which is none other than the incredible Goldberg.
Oh, boy. This thing you do every week, it gets better and better. I'll give you that. But there's a reason we're here tonight besides talking about Fastlane, and it's been the topic that we've discussed on episodes in the past from month-to-month basis. And there's one person in particular that you've had a bone to pick about this direct answer. And finally, and luckily tonight, we got him here. So the showstopper, as he likes to be called, you can see it right there, the man HBK. G, how you doing tonight? Thank you for showing up tonight. I know Matt's been calling you out over and over again, so I'm glad to finally have you here, and you guys can finally put this to rest of who the greatest of all time is.
I can't wait.
You know who's next? G, you're next.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's really going to happen. Thank you, Chippy.
Before we get into that topic, let's talk about one other thing. We're talking about the greatest of all time. When you talk about some of the greatest of all time, that brings me to what was just announced today, and since WrestleMania is that close, the Hall of Fame. Finally, Rick Rude will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, someone that has been overlooked for a while, you could say, and someone that many people believe should have been in years and years and years ago. So well-deserved for Rick Rude. When I was growing up, he was in DX as kind of their enforcer type. And then, of course, he went to WCW. But before that, he was, all the girls used to love him when he would come out, take the robe off, and do the Rude Awakening. Rick Rude was a fantastic wrestler, and it's glad to see he's finally getting his place in the Hall of Fame. Matt, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah.
G, anything about Rick Rude?
Congrats to him, man. It's well-deserved.
All right. Well, now.
The original ladies' man before
That's
Val
right.
Venus.
Oh, Val Venus isn't even in the same league as that guy.
I think you mean
The
Viscera.
Oh,
Visser.
what about Mark Henry? Sexual chocolate.
That's right. The greatest superstar of all time. We've talked about it. Let's finally put it to rest tonight. Now, before we go into this, we've had a lot of discussion of how can you put this person there and not talk about that person, or how could you say this person's better than him. When I talk about the greatest superstar of all time, I'm not talking about the person that's the best inside the ring, technical-wise. I'm not talking about who's good on just the mic. I'm talking about all around what they do for the company, their standing in the company, what they do in the ring, their accomplishments, and what they do on the mic. Everything in one, what makes them the best superstar. So, without further ado, Matt, I'm coming to you first. Who is the greatest superstar of all time? When you take into consideration everything, like I said, not who's the best in-ring worker that we've ever seen. Because if that's the case, 100%, I say Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring wrestler I've ever gotten a chance to watch.
I agree with you on that. But we're talking about all around. Inside, outside, what they do for the company, in and out. Someone who doesn't leave and then comes back. Well, when he's injured, but at least he comes back for more than a WrestleMania appearance. I'm going to say John Cena. And here's my reasons why. First off, we've seen the past couple matches he's done. His arsenal just keeps getting better and better. The matches he's been putting on with AJ, Bray Wyatt, all of them have just been tremendous. He's putting over talent. We can say the last 2 years, he really hasn't squashed anyone. He put over Kevin Owens in his first match. He had the open challenges with Sami Zayn, all those NXT guys that, obviously he beat because they weren't ready, but they put on great matches. The matches against AJ Styles last year, I believe we voted on that as feud of the year. They also had match of the year. I mean, it's just what he's done time and time again. I believe he holds the most Make-A-Wish foundations. I believe now. I believe he surpassed everyone else. He does that. He does charitable work. He goes to live shows. Wherever you need him, he goes. Yes, he takes time off, but here's the thing. He comes back. All these people about The Rock, all the Rock goes away, doesn't come back. Rock left for Hollywood. People are going to need to realize that. He when he came back, he shouldn't have won that title against CM Punk. That was a slap in the face to full timers. Cena's never done that. If he goes away, yes, this time he came back. He got the title. It was more for him to win and tie Ric Flair, which Ric Flair has come out and said he has no problem with. One person to bring his title, his record, it was going to be John Cena. What he does in and out the ring proves that he is the greatest superstar. No other superstar does what he does outside the ring with Make-A-Wish, charity organizations, appearances. The movies, they're not rock type movies, but he still makes them, but he comes back. So to me, that's why I put Cena at the top of the list above everyone else because what he does in and as you said, out the ring. Like you said, in ring, Shawn Michaels, yes, but Shawn never really was known for someone outside the ring. We never really hear much about what he does outside the ring. Yes, documentaries came out, stuff like that, but Cena is more publicized of what he does. He's like an ambassador for WWE in terms of everything, and that's why I'm gonna go with John Cena.
All right, and let's bring on the man that you've has said that he disagrees with you immediately. So, G, I'm coming to you. Who do you got as the greatest superstar of all time?
Okay, so like you guys said, with the in-ring talent, nobody can touch Shawn Michaels. He's number one, and I'm pretty sure every wrestler's mind. I mean, after WrestleMania, all the matches he's had with different types of wrestlers. He's had big guys, he's had small guys, he's had guys that were a disadvantage to him. Yeah, he didn't do anything outside of the ring. He didn't do as much. I mean, you had his drug addiction, he had his back injuries and everything. So it kind of, I want to say, stopped him from actually seeking a higher fame or a higher glory than what he had back in the old Attitude Era and before that. Um, my little twist is here is, I mean, yeah, I love Shawn Michaels and everything, but the superstar to go inside the ring and outside of the ring, um, I don't really disagree with Shippy on John Cena, but I feel that The Rock has a better uh, success story and percentage than John Cena. I mean, he's done the movies. He's gotten other guys into going into Hollywood and trying to pursue their own careers after wrestling or even in between wrestling to help them out as well. I mean, you're looking at putting your body at risk, and then you're also looking about the type of money you're actually making as well. I mean, The Rock always wanted to be a wrestler, no doubt about it. His family was in it, but I mean, also, I mean, going into his vocal skills on the mic, you actually have to take in consideration that his big breakoff was the Scorpion King, and that just set him to another road where he wanted to go higher and do better. He's now promoting he has his own production industry. He has a bunch of movies. He's number one actor, highest paid actor in the world right now. And this is coming from a guy that's from wrestling, who everybody says it's fake and everything. But I mean, it could be fake and everything, but you're taking bumps. But there's also some acting skill where it has to be taught in wrestling, and then to find it that a wrestler can become one of the greatest actors and the highest paid actors, it tells you something. He had to experience different situations, and I mean that's what he's doing. He's also done the Make a Wish Foundation as well. He's done tribute to the troops. He's done a bunch of hospital visits, and like sky's the limit with The Rock and everything. I mean, a lot of people hate him because he left the industry. Yeah, I get it, but he wanted to do something else, and he's actually doing something else, and he helped promote a couple WrestleManias. He's actually trying to bring things too. It kind of hurt me when he said that he was going to be here long term after he won the title, and then we only saw him for like maybe 2 weeks
Yeah.
during his reign. And I mean, he lied about that and everything. But I mean, honestly, that was kind of like a little a feeder for them to be. Oh, he's gonna be there. Ratings go up. Boom, he's there, or he's not there. They're just anticipating, hey, he's gonna come back. He's gonna do this and that. But um, my pick will have to be The Rock for sure over HBK due to HBK's history. As you guys can see on the documentaries, HBK wasn't the greatest guy. He was more of a villain um, back when he was champion and he had all the glory in his first prime.
Okay. Fair enough. I know you're going to want to rebuttal that, Matt, and we're going to get to that. Before we get to you, Matt, with what you want to say in return. So are you putting The Rock as 1 and Cena as 2 when it comes to that, or do you have Cena further down the list? G.
For
Like the greatest of all time. Would you have Cena
greatest of
next
all
on that
time,
list in that the way we broke it down?
I would have to. I mean, I don't really see anybody else that actually goes outside of the industry. I mean, Rock's an actor by heart now, but I mean, Cena is a wrestler first, and then after, even if he doesn't have time off, he still goes out and does those things and everything. But I mean, I think Rock just set it as another level to all the other superstars if to find another career and better themselves, but also bettering other people as well. Cena has more the, I guess, kids point of view or a kid's mindset because I mean he's doing helping kids after this and cancer and medical research and everything, which is great. No doubt about it. It's like one of the greatest things to ever see. One of the kids smiles um, when he visits and everything, but it's also different eras as well. I mean, if you look at it, like if Rock were to come back now, or if Rock stayed between with Cena and everything, that would have been the whole feud between them two. It would have been like a Rock Austin. It would have had to been Cena the Rock throughout the whole like I'm gonna say like 4 years of it because I don't know how long Rock would have done it before leaving Hollywood for real. But I would that's what I have to do. I'll put Rock one and then Cena slightly right behind him as well.
Okay. Now, before we get further, now after this, now that we've gotten that discussion of who the greatest, we're going to talk more about top fives and stuff like that when you break it down other ways. Matt, what's your rebuttal to that? Because I saw you nodding your head when he had stuff to say about The Rock doing this over Cena and things over that. So what do you got?
Here's my problem with Rock. When he does come back, I feel like he always puts down the younger talent. Let's go back to WrestleMania last year. Wyatt family, they were a hot team for the past, what, Anthony, 3 to 4 years? You've been behind them ever since?
Yeah.
Last year, WrestleMania, they get beat down by both of them. What'd The Rock do? Now, Cena came out, but Rock was the one who initiated everything, put him down. CM Punk, the longest reigning champion that we had in a long time, there you go. They're in Chicago tonight, had to give up his title to The Rock, which I thought was one of the worst decisions this company ever made, and really it started the downfall of him leaving this company. Which I agree with CM Punk. The Rock shouldn't have had that title, especially not the way And then cool, he goes on to lose it. CM Punk just wanted to be. He would rather have been in the triple threat. He doesn't care if John would have won, but he should have been in the triple threat. But that and that. When The Rock ever comes back, Rusev, let's bury him. He'll get a rock bottom. Go on him. It's just I don't like the way. I understand what he does. I don't like when he comes back, he puts it down. Cena, when he came back, put over AJ Styles, not one, but two. Styles won at SummerSlam, right?
Yes, twice.
Yeah, he put up Styles twice. Kevin Owens. Cena could have been like, I'm not losing to that guy. He's NXT. I'm not losing to him. Kevin Owens came in his first match, beat John Cena. John Cena, I'm sure they had to say, hey, you got to put this guy over. He could have been like, used his power, because we all know Cena has power in that company to say no to something. We all know that. He could have been like, I'm not losing that guy. Put him over. Cena puts people over. I feel like when The Rock comes back, he puts them down. Puts Rusev down. Definitely put The Miz down, because that whole title reign The Miz had the first one, I think The Rock killed The Miz's title reign. Especially the whole WrestleMania, helping them win. I think that I don't know if that was the writers or what, but we all can agree that that WrestleMania match with Miz and Cena, The Rock kind of just spoiled that for the Miz. We knew that was going downhill since then. But yeah, I like that. But I would put The Rock at number two behind John Cena just because of what he's done. But I'd be interested to see Anthony. Who's your we haven't said your top yet. What's going on?
Man, it's tough when you talk about this.
Let's hear your top five. How about that? You'll start off the top five. There we
The
go.
greatest of all time
You
when it
gotta,
comes to like.
you gotta let him talk his top two or his one.
That's why I
First.
said, and then he can continue to three, four, and five. He can start off the whole thing with five.
I've gone back and forth on this a while. I don't have The Rock in the discussion for my number one guy, but a guy that we really haven't mentioned. I know like he's not being talked about as much in the WWE world because of that what took place with him in the past year. But you got to think, and a guy that you started the show with, Matt, that you did your spiel. You have to think about Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan when you talk about some of the greatest of all time, especially in the way we broke it down, because Hulk Hogan was, a huge figure during the 80s and the 90s. I mean, everything was about him. The same thing with Ric Flair. Anywhere but WWE, before he showed up there, everything was Ric Flair when you talked about wrestling. He was
I
kind
vote
of the
for
first
Hulk
person.
Hogan myself.
See? So there you go, Paul, right there. There's a guy right there. Paul, we got you number one right there. Paul's got Hulk Hogan. I like it.
I mean, he has to be in the mix.
Oh, he has to be, absolutely. And I have him and Flair in my top five, and Cena, debating on where I put them. But for me, it just came down to who I got to see more of, and it was John Cena. I saw more of John Cena, and I've said this time and time again, he did it on a scale much larger than like The Rock and Stone Cold. Yes, they're probably, during that time, wrestling was bigger, but they did it on a 4-year span, as opposed to Cena was the number one guy in WWE now for close to 12 years. He's been doing it for a decade, and really, you could argue he really didn't have anyone that really pushed him. Orton, Edge, Mysterio, those were guys, Batista, those were guys at the time that were kind of pushing it, but they were never going to take that spot from him. There was never like with Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, where it was like one day Rock's number one, next week it's Stone Cold, like how they pushed each other like that. So I'll give you that. He might not have had as much competition as these other guys may have faced. Even if you go back to Hogan, when he had guys like Andre that you've mentioned, Warrior, Savage, Flair. So it is a little bit of a different time, but Cena has constantly put WWE first every time he does anything, and he does these things outside of the company to elevate, the company's, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure. And what it comes down to is everyone says John Cena can't wrestle, but all I know is that John Cena's had 5-star matches time and time again. Yes, he's had great opponents on the other side, and some of those matches were against the man that G will say is the greatest wrestler of all time, and that is Shawn Michaels. They had 2 great matches at WrestleMania on the night after Raw back in, was that 2007? I can't remember the exact year, but it's probably close to 10 years ago. But those are some of the best matches Cena ever did, and he's had 5-star matches since then with AJ, with Owens. Even matches with Edge and Orton were good during that period of time. Maybe his matches with Batista weren't that flashy kind of match that you wanted to see from John, but that's why it's tough for me to not put John as number one. And there's a lot more, but you guys have mentioned it, the Make-A-Wish, what he does. Doing all these appearances and still showing up. When he comes back, he doesn't just come and grab the title. And that doesn't really have to do with him being a better superstar. That just has to do with him helping the company more so, by elevating the younger talent that's going to be there when he's not around as often. So,
Also, what he does, like prank calls, that's pretty funny too.
that is the greatest. I actually saw that. It was on like somewhere, popped up today. It was like 4 years ago. I was like, man, that was that long ago. But
has it been that long? That came out that long ago?
Yeah, it was something like that 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, it was like 2013, 2014 when it first came out.
Yeah, I know.
I heard it for the first time. I was going nuts.
It's great.
Are you ready? John Cena!
But it was really tough for me, I think, to not put Hogan up there as the other guy, because like I said, growing up watching wrestling, I was early 90s. I didn't really know as much. But anytime someone said wrestling, if you said wrestling, you said the name Hulk Hogan. There was no, that was a synonym for wrestling at the time. So I think that he has to be in. That's why when Paul said he's number one, I'm like, if Paul's going to take it, then I'll go with the original decision, which was John Cena. So,
I got a pretty interesting round out of the top 5.
I
All
mean,
right,
Hulk
we'll go
Hogan
with you.
and them, those guys had a cartoon after them, dude.
That's what I'm saying. They had a huge thing. They
He
used to
also
do like
fought
the
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was, and that's what I'm saying. He did
And
Mr.
movies
Three
before.
Thunderlips.
How can you
He
forget
did
about
movies
Three
before it
Ninjas?
was big. He did movies as a superstar. That's what I mean. So it's tough when it comes to it. But Matt, I'll let you go to it. Just name 1 through 5. We'll save the explanations. If anyone has a question, we can be like, "Why do you pick them?" But let's just hear your top 5
I have
real quick.
Johnny Boy at 1, The Rock, Hogan at 3. I have Taker at 4, and then 5. I have a tie. Couldn't decide between the two, between Shawn Michaels and here's my little wild card in there, Sting.
Okay. All right. G, I'm coming to you. Who you got for your top 5?
And we're talking like how we were
Great
talking
at
about
superstar. What
ours.
they did. Yeah, what they did for the
Okay.
industry type thing, more so than what they
So,
necessarily did just in the ring.
It'll be Rock 1, Cena 2. I would say Triple H 3, and then I would have it with you guys. I would have Flair 4, and then Hogan 5.
Okay. Paul, do you want to name anybody else maybe that we're forgetting before I give my top 5? I know you had Hogan as 1. Anyone else that you think should be in that discussion?
No, I think between the 3 of you guys, I think they covered all the ones that I probably would have mentioned. I mean, back the Hogan era and things like that. That was back then. I mean, most guys your age were pretty young, and if they were watching it, they just kind of remember Hogan and Andre the Giant and those guys. And
Yeah.
but Hogan was definitely the standout. But I think through the years, the ones that you guys have mentioned, like Cena, The Rock, Triple H, even, that's the one that kind of stands out to me too. So I think you got there. You're doing justice.
Yeah, fair
for the
enough.
wrestler,
So I will go with number 1. I will stick with Cena. Number 2, I put Hogan. Number 3, I'll put The Rock. Number 4, I'll put Triple H. And at number 5, I have Ric Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin as the 6th spot, just short of the 5 spot, because of what he did with allowing, when it was his time, that was like the first time everyone used to look up to him because they're like, man, this guy's going into work and beating up his boss, So he really revolutionized the way people saw like the antagonist protagonist thing in wrestling. But if I had to say the greatest wrestler, when you talk about in-ring, Shawn Michaels is number 1 on my list.
Definitely.
So that I will agree with on that. The people I've seen most similar to him in recent memory, as we're talking like right now in the current generation wrestling, I'd say Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles remind me most of something he could do.
Yeah. And I have Sting up there mostly because of loyalty that he did.
Yeah, I agree. Sting was huge. WCW. Sting was WCW.
Sting, you
why
could
he
also
never
say
left them.
Sting was TNA in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I won't consider TNA in those echelon of those groups
Let's
that we're
not,
talking about.
Yeah.
we won't, but I conclude Sting just because of loyalty that he had for.
He has loyalty. I will say that. I agree.
That's why.
I 100% agree.
for example, my kid is, I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, right? And if they're watching wrestling right now, who would they be talking about as like the greatest wrestlers of all time? You know what I mean? Like they're going back.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to pick the guys who are up and in their face right now, the ones who are kind of like the
Roman
Cena.
Reigns.
Yeah, Roman Reigns.
Oh God! Someone kept Matt's mic. Gee, you mind staying for the rest of the show? Me and you will just talk.
Yeah, I would definitely do it. I would love to. No, but if your kids are watching wrestling now, I mean, I don't know if you can pick Cena because I mean, it's kind of like he is on his way out if he wants to not do this anymore.
Bray Wyatt,
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know about Wyatt, but I mean, you got Ambrose, you got Rollins if he's healthy.
God, no,
It
don't
could
let
be
kids
one.
watch Dean Ambrose.
What about the Miz?
AJ.
Would the Miz be in the
AJ
mix?
could be a one.
I think the Miz is underrated. I don't know if he's one of the greatest right now, but he's
Yeah,
underrated.
Okay, gotcha.
He's crazy, that's for sure.
I mean, you could do Kevin Owens too, but I mean, he's had some history. He has
Shinsuke, just because of what he did in Japan before he came here.
And where does
He
Kurt
has some
Angle fall
mileage in
into
it.
all that mix? Does he get a
Angle,
spot?
they won't even. Most people won't know about it because he wasn't in WWE since '06, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's
He was
been in
only there for
TNA
like
and like in the
7 years,
Indies.
I believe,
Yeah,
7 or 8 years. So
it's
it
been
was a
he's been
short
gone for a
time, but
while.
it was a great time.
Yeah. Or
Gotcha.
hopefully when he comes back for the Hall of Fame, they're talking about him returning into the in-ring action at some point. So we'll hope that comes true. But we do have to get to Fastlane and to Raw and SmackDown. So we're going to cut this conversation here for this time. We'll probably have another episode sometime down the road, maybe a couple weeks, maybe in the next month, hopefully relatively soon, leading up to WrestleMania, and we'll talk more in depth of who's the best in the ring. I know we said Michaels was one, but maybe some other guys that we thought who was the best on the mic. We'll get into that, and
Can
we'll
we all
post
agree
that like
though?
we
Ric
said.
Flair's the best bleeder.
Oh, geez.
Him
Best
and
Best
Michael,
what?
the best bleeder.
On the flops, oh man.
He's the best
But
flopper. I'll give that.
yeah, he definitely is the best flopper. But G, we'd love to have you stay. We're just going to talk Fastlane real quick and preview Raw and SmackDown if you'd be interested to stay with us.
Yeah, got nothing else to do.
All right, sounds
He's
good.
in.
So,
You don't even want that to talk.
There was a pay per view last night.
yeah.
There was a pay per view. I couldn't tell.
I was gaming last night. I didn't know about it.
Let's be honest. I did not really watch Fastlane that closely. I actually didn't watch it at all till the next morning. From what I saw, man, let's just talk of it. Let's talk of it as a whole real quick.
Just
We'll
be
break the
honest.
matches
It
down.
sucked.
The pay-per-view was awful. It was awful.
Yes, thank you.
There were certain matches. Sorry, G, go ahead.
It was like another 2-star rating. It didn't wow me.
I think 2 stars is generous. Seriously, it was
I'm just
bad.
giving
Paul.
them just giving them my thing, but I mean 2-star, maybe close to 2.
There's
I'll take
only
it back.
there's,
I'll take
there's
it
two
back.
matches that saved that whole pay per view. Just two. That was it.
I think there was. You could
Three.
argue 3.
I'm sorry. Three. I'm sorry. Three.
I think the way they started the pay-per-view, Samoa Joe and Zayn was not a bad match. I was like, okay, this is a good one. You figured Joe was going over. Joe got the win. Really no argument in that match there. I didn't have an issue with that. I was fine with
The
that.
Blue Thunder on his big self, so that was pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Second match, the Club versus Enzo and Cass. The match was really nothing special. Club
Concept
continued, kept the titles. Again, didn't have an argument with that. Now, when I say I don't have an argument, doesn't mean I thought the matches were good. I didn't think the match was anything special, but the Club continuing their title reign made sense.
Club better watch themselves because a broken guy said they're coming for the titles.
Yeah, but they also just went to ROH and supposedly signed
That's
a
all right.
contract.
They're gonna
Whether
win
it's month to month
everything.
or not, we'll see.
Real quick, they have 7 titles. For anyone who doesn't know, the Broken Hardys have 7 World Tag Team titles as of right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let you all know.
It's good
All
for
right,
them.
keep going. Sorry.
What was the match after that? I just drew it was the Club, that match.
Oh,
I believe it was Nia Jax and
Nia and
Sasha.
cares.
Uh,
Sasha won.
Sasha needed the win because if they were having her lose every match, I don't know if I would have did it. There's really no good way to have a monster heel lose a match to someone that's smaller than him. That roll up into the bridge. I think that maybe she should have grabbed the ropes or something like that to use more leverage to kind of help her.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a huge issue with Sasha winning that match because that helps for the talk of the Fatal 4-Way match. Because if she would have just lost again, what's the point of having her in a match? Unless she turns on Bayley.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna skip because it ties into that match. I was very upset that they had Charlotte lose in that fashion by having Sasha come out there and cost her the pay-per-view streak. And then not only that, Sasha gets in the ring and I'm like, okay, you know what? At least this makes sense. They had her come down here to cost Charlotte. They think that like she's against, she's with Bayley and she's gonna turn on Bayley, but no, Bayley and her just celebrate.
You know
in the
what?
ring.
I
I'm like,
saw something about Bailey turning heel. Is that her finisher? You can do it out of a hug. They said that'd be the greatest heel turn ever. She goes and hugs someone's and just belly to belly them. Never thought about that. That'd be the greatest thing on how to turn a heel for Bailey. But
I
they
don't
won't.
know.
She's women's John Cena. We all know
Yeah.
it.
What do you think? Did you have a problem with the way they ended it, G, the Charlotte and Sasha match? I mean, Charlotte and Bayley. I'm sorry.
I didn't like it. I just feel. I mean, Charlotte, the way she's been, it would have been crazy to let Bailey win it. I mean, I was kind of upset. I wanted Charlotte because Charlotte could actually do more. I just feel Bailey's missing something of being a champion. I mean, her
She doesn't have the chemistry
Mike
with Charlotte.
Yeah. They don't have Charlotte winning. You're going to be at WrestleMania in the main event or one of the title fights. And
honestly, it's WrestleMania. You have to do like outstanding, a high level of performing. I don't know if she's capable of doing that. Now, I don't know if it's going to be her and whoever, or a triple threat, or if you guys think about the fatal four way. I'm not sure, but I just think it's time for a change of champion there. I just didn't see Bailey like with the play and beat Charlotte in that one.
Sorry, guys. Guillermo's mic technical difficulties a little bit. Okay. Now I can't hear Anthony. This is not good. Paul, what's going on?
I'm sorry. I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah. Guillermo, can you talk real quick?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Okay, I hear him. Yeah. For the most part, I agree with what he said too. I think, and we've said this before, I don't dislike Bailey. She has that underdog story, which is why I think that they continue to push her there. But I don't. I think she's missing that thing that Charlotte. I think Charlotte has that it factor, whatever you want to call it, that it factor. She has it, whereas I think some of the other women don't. And the Raw Women's division might not have it as strongly as Charlotte does. So we'll see how that plays out. I still think she should have won last night, and then she could have lost at WrestleMania in a fatal four-way, which would still keep her pay-per-view record intact because she could never get pinned in the match to lose.
Right.
But again, the way they play hot potato, a part of me is happy because now it's like, okay, maybe they're actually going to let Bailey keep the title for 3 to 4 months, even though I don't think she should be the one with the championship. But that's a discussion for another time.
Speaking of championship matches, let's just go ahead and talk about my opinion, probably the match of the night.
I think it was the match. It might have been the best cruiserweight match they've had on pay-per-view.
Was Jack,
Yeah.
not Pretty Boy, I guess.
Gentleman Jack.
Jack versus Neville. And I tell you what, after that match, and Gentleman Jack, good lord, I wonder how his neck and head feels after that German, and then getting that match where he got slammed off the top rope. Good lord, did he take some blood suplex?
Yeah. Whatchamacallit was nasty, too. Congratulations to Neville, man. The king of...
All right, technical difficulties here real quick, gentlemen. Okay. You there, Anthony?
I'm here.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That headbutt when gentleman guy was on the top rope just looked vicious. Neville's body just went limp, and I thought that was gonna be the ending. But Neville pulled it out, and I was hoping Austin Harris was gonna come down somewhat and not interfere, but maybe make a statement there. What do you think of the match?
I agree with you guys. It was probably the best match of the card and everything. But it just kills me that the fact that you know what Neville can do. Why wasn't he pushed as a top contender for the title, or the Universal title, or any title while he was there before the injury? I mean, he has great chemistry with everybody. I mean, he's the high flyer. Everybody loves the high flyer, the flips in the air, the spins and everything, the kicks. I mean, he can play a bad heel. He can play a good guy as well. But yeah, those the flips that Jack Gentleman had on his neck and everything. I was squirmishing. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I would not want to be that dude, or wake up the next morning and feel that pain.
Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the next match so we can quickly wrap this up. Strowman versus Roman. I thought it was a great match, one of the other matches, and what is going on here? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, there we go.
I hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Strowman and Roman put on a hell of a match. I mean, it showed both these guys weren't going to back down. I'm sure everyone's upset because Roman won. But that top rope move that Strowman tried to pull, the rope was going to snap. I can't believe his big body got up there, took the fall, and then match was over. I was waiting to hear it gone. I was waiting to see Taker come out. No, we were just teased. I was waiting the whole night to see maybe that happened, but no, it's WWE once again just says, Taker just in Chicago or something. So that was my thing of the match. I thought Roman and Strowman looked great. I personally thought Roman was going to lose. I think Roman maybe should have lost because Strowman's been doing this.
What did you just say? Say it again.
Roman, I think, should have lost.
Okay, I like that. Wow.
Being honest, can I be honest? Being
I
honest.
believe you're that objectiveness now.
Because Strowman's been looking like a monster the past couple of weeks, and now, I mean, where do you go with Strowman now? Honestly, he's got to win Andre the Giant Battle Royal. If he puts him in, you got to have him win, because if he doesn't win that, all the momentum you just had for that guy the past couple months, it's just starting to go little slippery slope down the hill.
Yeah. Paul, I want you to write down the time and date, and write down that Matt admitted that Roman should have lost the match for the first time in over a year of doing the show. Fantastic. I don't think Roman should have won the match. I don't think he should have won the match. I have no issue with him being made to look strong, as CM Punk said in his podcast with Colt Cabana years ago. But you built Braun to be up this monster heel, and every Raw, Roman was trying everything, and Braun was standing tall. And now at the pay-per-view, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe that he just found a way finally. I don't know. I think one Raw you should have had Roman stand tall then if this was your plan the whole time. But I do, him going up to it's just funny and missing a headbutt caused him to lose the match. Not the part where he went completely over the top rope and then on his knee. It was when he came off the top rope and missed the headbutt. So, I don't know. Like I said, that match, though, very surprisingly was good between the two of them. So it didn't have a huge issue with that match. That was actually one of the matches I enjoyed. And like you said, the other match, I think the match of the night was definitely Gentleman Jack and Gallagher and Neville. So, and then there was one match left. I'm sorry. We didn't even talk about the two matches that got added because of Jinder Mahal and Rusev's argument. So I guess you could.
Well, they said Rusev got burned because he got his hair cut without telling anyone.
Yeah. Well, Mick Foley teased that Best of 7 series, and I was like, I really hope that that's not going to be the case here, and I'm glad they didn't do that. But Rusev and Jinder both fought at ringside. Jinder took out Rusev. He gets the first match against Cesaro. Cesaro wins. Rusev goes in the ring, demolishes him, and then Big Show comes out and just absolutely dismantles Rusev. I mean, I don't even know if Rusev really had any offense in that match whatsoever. I honestly think that Big Show should have won this match, and I'm happy to see it, because if he is going to have a singles match at WrestleMania with Shaq still, which they're saying is the talks are back ongoing, this is something you need to do to elevate him, not just have him show up at WrestleMania to face Shaq, because then that's two guys that haven't been in the ring in a while. So I'm glad to see him winning that match at Fastlane. And then that leaves us with one last match, and that's the Universal title match. I mean, if you want to call it a match, yeah. You want a time? When I'm at 20 seconds, we'll stop talking about it.
All right, go ahead.
It's unbelievable. Again, they said that they had no choice. I think Jericho should have actually came down to the ring. It shouldn't. The way the whole thing was set up, it's like, come on. Owens was getting in and out of the ring. They wouldn't ring the bell. Owens says ring the bell. Jericho's music hits. And then when Owens' back is turned, they ring the bell? Come on. And then, of course, it leads to Jericho and Owens at WrestleMania, which I'm not upset about. The thing I'm upset about is that Goldberg and Lesnar. Yeah. Goldberg and Lesnar is the Universal title match now.
Guess what? Guess what's going to happen? Somehow, Goldberg's been dominating everyone. Lesnar will probably beat him. Won't defend the title for 3 months, which means Universal title will stay. Then how he puts out someone beat Brock Lesnar? This is my problem with it. Obviously, we'll talk more about this because we want to preview Raw. But, I mean, whatever. We'll talk about that another time because I'm just too frustrated right now to think about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in WrestleMania. So, overall, the card, 2 matches really stood out to me. Really underwhelming to me. SmackDown, again, continues to reign as the superior show when it comes to pay-per-views and on TV. So, but let's talk about Raw tonight. It's in Chicago. Two people talked about returning. First, Roman, and then second, Finn Balor. Finally, they're saying, is there any chance you think that they throw a curveball and Finn and The Undertaker at WrestleMania? And that's what Finn does. He comes out and interrupts Undertaker. Or do you think it's to set up his match with Roman? That's a done deal.
I think
Or whichever.
they're going to set it up with Roman.
Okay.
And I think Finn's
What do you think? You think?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Go. Sorry.
Was he there?
G? Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think Undertaker's there tonight for Roman or for Finn?
I don't know. It's a toss-up, honestly. I mean, the way they've been instigating it for the past couple of weeks, it's not really sure what's gonna happen. I would love to see the Undertaker pop up, like his usual pop-ups before WrestleMania, and bait the feud between him and Reigns. But also, I would like to see Finn Balor come back. I mean, I missed the dude. I want to see what's going on with the Demon. I mean, I actually thought he was actually ringside because the dude put up an awesome makeup like kid. I actually thought Finn Balor was ringside.
I
It had
understand.
me. I don't know. This dude actually looked like it. Like he was
So did
had
I.
the headset and everything.
I even got the sits. I even got the
I
sits
was
back
like,
from
holy crap,
that
he's
shit.
there. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of Raw, it's already starting right now.
Yeah, perfect. We're not going to hold too much time here with that. They have announced to Neville and Rich Swann will face for the Cruiserweight title tonight. I think Neville continues his top reign. I like that they played the Austin Aries package last night before the Cruiserweight match. I think that that's leading to Aries making his main roster debut imminently in this WrestleMania season. And another thing is they were hyping up backstage was with Mick Foley. The attention continues. There is going to be a State of the Raw address tonight by Mick Foley. And he even went up to Samoa Joe and he's like, Stephanie doesn't want you going out there, even though Stephanie obviously didn't hear what you said because the phone got disconnected. But they're making it look more and more like they are going to go forward with this Triple H, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe faction and a possible fourth member to be named. So like a revamp on Evolution. But I think that pretty much does it for Raw. The only other thing on SmackDown that we know, two things. First of all, huge match, which I would love to have seen on a WrestleMania stage. First, AJ and Orton are going to face for the right to be the number one contender, even though I think the both of them should just be put in the WrestleMania match and make it a triple threat. So we're finally going to see that match one-on-one, something that we've been wanting to see for years. And then the other match on SmackDown that we know about is the mixed tag match, Ellsworth and Carmella. Matt, you have anything to say?
No, it's pretty much.
Are you picking AJ or Orton?
Orton.
Okay, and you think AJ's going to get is Shane?
Yes.
G, what do you think of? We got him?
I think our mics are starting to get. Do you have AJ or Orton?
For the number one contender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to stay with Orton. I mean,
Okay, and you think AJ and Shane is the match to take place at Mania for those two?
I'm not sure. I would like to see somebody else.
Jericho
AJ,
starting Raw.
All right.
I
Well, there you go.
mean, I would take it. I would take Shane and AJ. Just hopefully Shane doesn't hurt himself too bad and finishes the match.
Fair enough. So, I know we had some technical difficulties here towards the end of the show tonight, but we're gonna let you get to Raw. We don't want to hold too much of your time. Like I said, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a bigger, probably just an episode 2, greatest superstar of all time. Great, all of those things. We'll break it down. We'll have it on Twitter. We'll have it on Facebook for the fans to vote on it. The reason we did it tonight because Fastlane was underwhelming. We knew we'd have more time tonight to talk about it. So, with that being said, Paul, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you do the close out. Is Paul with us?
Maybe you should do it tonight.
Well, you know how it works. Like and subscribe if you can. We love the views on Facebook, but if you can, go to YouTube, check out our channel. All of it on the bottom, as you can see, you'll have our Twitter handles underneath all of our pictures, and then you also have the Facebook page, the email address, and our Twitter handle that you can follow us at. If you ever have any questions, want to tell us what we could do differently in the show, please feel free to do that. We appreciate any kind of feedback, and I think that pretty much does it for us tonight. Did I miss anything, Matt?
No.
Of course, week. We'll officially let you know. I will say this: the Shipe Sports Talk will either be Wednesday or it's going to probably be Wednesday this week instead of Thursday. We'll let you know for sure when it's going to be once we have an official date. Again, sorry about technical difficulties. G, we want to say thank you for coming on tonight. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks, Guillermo.
Of course.
Thanks, Guillermo, and thank you, everyone. And Tune in to Shine Sports Talk.
Guillermo, you have a great night. Thanks again.
You too. You guys. We all?